and welcome. I'm Olis Gerduk and you're watching Head to Head with UATV. India has been a strong supporter of Ukraine since country's independence more than a quarter of a century ago. New Delhi was one of the first to recognize Ukraine's independence, and since then, relations have only strengthened. And to discuss the most recent developments in Ukrainian-Indian partnerships, we are honored to welcome to the studio today Mr. Partha Satpathy, Ambassador of the Republic of India to Ukraine. Hello, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
As I said, it's an honor to have you here. So let's start with recent events. Ukrainian delegation from the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade of Ukraine, and they had with the minister himself, Stepan Kubiv, was on a working visit to India just 10 days ago. Could you tell us what are the results of the talks?
This summit is a very significant summit. It's partnered by the Confederation of Indian Industries, and it takes a look into our aspects of economy, development, and cooperation with other countries. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Kubik's presence there was very important. It acknowledged the importance of Ukraine in our bilateral economic partnership, as well as Mr. Kubik's role himself in furthering this partnership. Outcomes were very significant in the sense he had a fruitful discussion with our Minister of Commerce and Industry. He also had a meeting with our Minister of Pharmaceuticals. He also met with the ministers responsible for the development of Maharashtra, one of our biggest states. And I expect out of this meeting will emerge a lot of collaborative and cooperative areas where synergies of India and Ukraine can be discovered.
Was there anything precise that can be unveiled to the public from their discussion?
Yes, certainly. It celebrated the depth of our relations and especially acknowledgement of the Make in India initiatives which we have, in which Ukraine has shown interest, and as well as our pharmaceutical sectors, which are well invested in the economy of Ukraine.
Yes, well, that's true. Ukraine does import a lot of Indian medicine. Is there any cooperation between Indian and Ukrainian producers of medicine?
Yes, you know, health in India is a very sacred area of public governance in which the government pays a lot of attention to enable average Indians to have excellent health care. And this is something we try to project abroad also in our not only in our bilateral relations, but more specifically in our commercial relations. Indian pharmaceuticals, all the major Indian pharmaceuticals are represented here in Ukraine. Few of them have production facilities. Few of them source it from India. Few of them have registered products here and with their own brands and trademarks. The emphasis is on helping the public health system of Ukraine to address all its health issues through supply of generics, which are exceptionally high quality, but also in niche areas, cardiovascular diseases, cancer-fighting drugs. So the gamut of collaboration is quite extensive, and I can only hope that this will continue in the future because it's a win-win for both sides. We are the pharmacy of the world, and we produce excellent quality medicines at very reasonable prices.
Yes, that's what I wanted to mention, that actually the healthcare becomes more affordable due to this.
True, and that's where I was wanting to mention that this collaboration ensures access and affordability of medicines to the Ukrainian public, which is also good for the Ukrainian government's budget.
Well, that is true. Well, India is an extremely important trading partner of Ukraine, right? It is leading the list of the biggest importers of Ukrainian agricultural goods worldwide. So what is the turnover and what is being sold?
You see, the turnover is in the range of $2.5 billion both ways. But this turnover reflects only that which is billed directly between the countries. Supplies are also taking place through intermediaries, so I can even extend this figure up to $3 billion if you want. In terms of the basket, it's quite diversified, and you will notice that Ukraine exports almost 3 times what it imports from India. So the trade is in favor of the government of Ukraine, is simply because we need these products from Ukraine. They range from agricultural basic products like agricultural products, including oils, edible oils, right down to sophisticated engineering equipment, be it in the area of aircraft maintenance, manufacturing, or even nuclear power plants. So the gamut is extensive.
The whole range of products.
The whole range from Ukraine. And from India, it's equally extensive. Of course, we talked about pharmaceuticals because that is an area in which we have demonstrated excellent capacity and pricing. But it's also in agricultural products, also in engineering products. So both ways, the basket of goods is quite large and extensive.
Well, as I said, India is #1 out of top 10 countries already. But the important thing to mention, if that is #1 for already the third year in a row, that almost 40% of all agricultural goods exported from Ukraine, they go to India.
Thank you for highlighting it.
This is great because I didn't know this information, but finally I was speaking to the Deputy Minister of Agriculture on European integration, and she told me these figures. If India is ready in a few years to become the third largest consumer market after the United States and China, how would it result on trade perspectives for Ukraine?
India, as you know, is a very well-developed market.
Yeah, it's the sixth economy in the world.
It's one of the largest economies. We are one of the strongest growing economies. And this economy is buffered and at the same time guaranteed by our significant purchasing power capacity in the hands of a large number of Indians. So as India expands, as India grows, as India multiplies further, inevitably the opportunities for countries which are already doing well with India and which are well positioned can only increase. So I foresee in the near future trade with Ukraine expanding to cover not only the areas where we are presently doing a lot of trade, but also in niche areas, including sectors on engineering, on technology, on defense, on food processing, agricultural sector-based products. And this is good for both countries because economic relations finally underpin the strength of bilateral relations.
They will continue growing and
they will continue to grow.
Well, thank you so much for this valuable comment. If we shift the discussion onto the educational cooperation, I do know that last year, in 2018, almost 11,000 Indian students were studying in Ukraine, which is 80% more compared to 2015. Pretty short period. And then 80% growth. I think these figures can mean that there are some certain exchange student programs that do exist between India and Ukraine. So what is the cooperation in the educational field?
This is a significant area of cooperation, education, because it goes down to the heart of countries' development, the youth. And in that context, you are right. We have a number of Indian students coming here to study a variety of subjects, but mostly in medicine, because Ukraine does offer a very well-established educational system to allow students to acquire this competence. And these Indian students therefore become qualified doctors after studying from here.
Is Ukrainian education in medicine highly recognized in India?
It is well recognized in India, certainly. It's a benefit also from the fact that these students are paying students. They come pay for their tuition.
They pay for their studies.
For their studies. And at a rough estimate, you can put this figure at about $50 million over the period of study of all these students. So it's a large amount of money which these Indian students invest. And obviously, no one is going to invest large amounts of money unless they know that the quality of education is very good. And I'm also pleased to know that, and I've had discussions in the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health, that they are doing things to improve the conditions which are available for Indian students so that they go back home with a well-qualified, well-achieved educational degree. And I assume this partnership will continue because there is a supply element available here and there is a demand element available in India. This is one of the better ways in which cooperation between our two countries can go on further.
If we speak about cooperation, does it mean that there are Ukrainian students who go to study or who go to participate in some internships in India?
Yes, we do offer scholarships to Ukrainian students to go and study in India. These are in diverse areas, right from IT and software to culture and linguistics and humanitarian studies. These scholarships are, of course, on a government-to-government basis. And we also train some of your diplomats in our diplomatic academies, because our diplomatic academy has a very well-defined program of training diplomats all across the globe. And we often encourage Ukrainian young diplomats to go to India and get a taste of Indian foreign policy training. So yes, there are opportunities, although the number of students from Ukraine to India is obviously not as large as those coming from India, because our students coming here have a focus: medicine, engineering.
They have this clear interest. And what about Ukrainian students? Is their interest, for example, the language? Are they interested in studying and practicing Hindi?
Yes, I have had very nice opportunities of interacting with the students who learn Hindi at the Taras Shevchenko University and at the other Kiev University of Linguistics. It's amazing to find students who devote 4 to 5 years of their academic life to learn Hindi as a foreign language, simply because it's not only an eye-opener into what India is about, but it also provides educational and employment opportunities for these students. So yes, there are students interested and who will continue to be interested. And we offer education in India in English. Our educational system is extremely competitive and very highly qualified. You will find the best Indians abroad handling the best companies abroad, be it an IT company, or be it a finance company, or be it an engineering company.
But would it be pricey for Ukrainian students to study, for example, on English course in India?
It's not at all pricey. It's not expensive, because the price has to cater to the market. And in India, the cost is not so high in terms of these specialized programs. Certainly, it will be good for Ukrainian students to look at this opportunity, but they have to be in time, to apply in time, identify the correct universities, and then weave this educational requirement into their academic qualifications.
Well, if we talk about education, it is indivisible with the culture, especially with rich Indian culture. There is great interest in Indian culture among Ukrainians. Dances, yoga, philosophy, Ayurveda, and spirituality. This whole list excites Ukrainians a lot. And there are more than 30 Ukrainian cultural associations and groups across the whole country that are engaged in promoting Indian dances. So what cultural programs available for participation this year would you outline and recommend to participate maybe?
Cultural activities are going on a very fast swing here in Ukraine. And this is, of course, with the efforts of the Indian Embassy, but also due to the help and support of all the cultural organizations here in Ukraine. You're right in saying they are in the forefront of teaching dance, yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, and all these are soft areas which help the individual to have a better holistic life. This appeals to the Ukrainians, it appeals to the people at large, and particularly gratifying is to see this appealing to the youth, because they realize it's a stress-filled world, and if you learn these techniques of yoga, meditation, dance, not only provides recreation, but also a healthy environment to study and grow up. As far as activities are concerned, I just had a very important meeting with some of these organizations. You know, every year we have a number of dance festivals, dance competitions. There is the Rhythms of Joy, which we hold every year. This was in October last year, and where more than 350 Ukrainian artists participated, and we had a show with Indian dance and Indian music going on there. the International Day of Yoga, which, as you know, we hold it with a lot of celebration.
Yes, that occupies the whole center of Ukrainian capital. Everyone has a carpet and practices yoga.
And numbers can go depending on the weather, of course. And I hope this year we have some good weather, from 2,000 to 10,000. And this is done across cities in Ukraine, thanks to the yoga associations, with whom we have a good collaboration going on. Across all over Ukraine, this is practiced. So, yes, culturally, there is a lot of love, awareness, and affection.
And a lot of interest.
Well,
unfortunately, we are about to conclude because we're running out of time. But please tell us about some plans for this year, 2019, and potential to expand relations between the two countries.
Our relations are on a wonderful sphere of and range of activities. We have had a number of meetings at the political level through our consultative mechanisms and commissions. And we have had a number of meetings both in Ukraine and in Delhi and in India. Both countries this year have elections. So we will again see leadership changes there, which will therefore give us opportunities to find further areas of cooperation and collaboration. Both sides are very committed to have a relationship that's not only multifaceted, but also beneficial to both Ukraine and in India. And therefore, in the future, I can see all these mechanisms unfolding. And during my tenure here, the emphasis will be on ensuring that all these bodies and organizations meet so that the manifesto of bilateral cooperation can be effectively expanded and implemented.
Let's hope that this is going to be the case. Thank you so much for your valuable comments, and thank you for being a guest today in our studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you, and my good wishes and a happy new year to all your viewers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was Mr. Partha Satpathy, Ambassador of the Republic of India to Ukraine. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Ales Garjuk. Goodbye.